So I did a video not so long ago about when to walk away from that which no longer serves you. And this video is going to be sort of a reiteration of that, but also with some additional information. Now, in that video, I talked about how we sometimes use this idea of walking away from that which no longer serves you as an excuse not to do the necessary inner work to resolve our own personal issues. And I gave the example of relationship because that's where we typically apply this most commonly. That is, we're in a relationship that doesn't meet our standards in some way or another. Maybe there's some tension or conflict or what have you. But rather than try and resolve it, it's much easier to just run away. We might tell ourselves that it's not serving us, but do we really understand what that means? Maybe the relationship is offering us a great opportunity to work on some personal area within ourselves, to overcome some limitation or illusion. Or maybe we're being offered the opportunity to learn how to love more deeply. Maybe it's an opportunity to develop patience or forgiveness or appreciation. And maybe what we see as a difficult or unsatisfying relationship is actually serving to teach us something. But are we willing to learn? That's the real question. It's one thing to walk away from that which truly no longer serves you, but it's something altogether different to run away from an important and valuable lesson. And if you're going through something like that, I'm not going to tell you whether you should stay or walk away. That's really up to you to figure out. Everyone's situation is different. But here's what I often observe. I notice often that someone will be in a relationship where there doesn't seem to be any hope in resolving whatever issues have arisen, primarily because the other person is unwilling to take any responsibility. You may be willing, and you may be doing everything you can to resolve the issue, but the other person is not willing to do anything, to take any responsibility for their part. And then nothing ever changes. And yet people will stay in the relationship hoping that one day their partner will come around and take responsibility, work with them to resolve the issue, and usually that never happens. Or what I see on the other hand is someone is in a relationship and some issue comes up, or they're just not satisfied with their partner or whatever it might be, and they don't want to even try to resolve it. And it might be something that could very easily be resolved, but they don't want to take responsibility to do that, and so instead they just walk out of the relationship without really giving it a chance. So these are the two extremes. Someone stays in an unhealthy relationship which is likely to never get better, or they're in a relationship which has all the potential of being really amazing, but they run out at the first sign of a problem without even trying to resolve it. So again, it's up to you to determine whether the relationship is worth staying and investing in, or whether it truly is a lost cause. And if you do decide to walk away, it's still important to see if you can resolve whatever you may be carrying that might have contributed in any way to the issues that you faced in that relationship. When we talk about that which serves or doesn't serve us, it often has very little to do with our external circumstances and really more to do with our own internal beliefs and conditioning. Our external circumstances are merely a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So if we're in a relationship that is toxic, for example, it's not just a matter of bad luck. There's a reason why we chose to be in that relationship. And unless we resolve that in ourselves, we're going to find ourselves faced with that same challenging situation over and over again. You might leave that situation, you might walk away from the relationship, but if you take all your baggage with you, you'll wind up unpacking it all in the next relationship, which is to say that the next relationship will be very similar to the last one. It'll be a whole different person, but qualitatively, it won't be much different. Have you ever noticed this? Have you noticed that whatever unpleasant circumstances that you experience in one relationship, you tend to experience in all of them, or at least most of them? I often hear people complain with great confusion at how they keep winding up in one toxic relationship after the other. And they think that they just have bad luck with relationships. But is it bad luck, or is there something deeper going on? After all, we do have some choice in the matter. Unless you're living in a culture where relationships are forcefully arranged, you get to choose your partners, and you get to choose whether you stay in that relationship. But what most people are unaware of, and often unwilling to look at, is why we choose certain types of partners. We might ask, why do I keep attracting toxic partners? Which seems to be an admission that we are indeed in some way responsible. But we don't really want to find out the answer. We often just want to complain about it as if life is unfair, even though deep down we know that we have a choice. And if you want to play that game, telling yourself that you're just a victim of bad luck or whatever it is, or if you want to wait around until someone else comes along and fixes all of your problems or rescues you, you can do that. Potentially you can do that forever, because chances are that nothing is ever going to actually change until you really have the willingness to look at your own baggage and understand why you keep choosing these kinds of situations. What I'm saying is really find out why, what's in all of that baggage that you're carrying around with you. Are you willing to open it up and look? Because that's really the only way that anything's going to change. And you can sort through your baggage while you're in the current relationship. Or if you choose to leave the relationship, you can sort out your baggage afterwards. But try to get it sorted out before you wind up in another relationship. Because finding a new partner isn't going to solve the issue if the issue is buried somewhere deep inside of you. All this talk about what does or doesn't serve you is really about your own baggage. If you go on a journey, you might pack all kinds of things or collect things along the way. And you might find along the way that some of those things are not really necessary. They're just weighing you down. Well, life is kind of like a journey. And chances are, if you're a human being, you're probably carrying a lot of unnecessary stuff with you that isn't really helpful and is just weighing you down. You might be carrying insecurities, attachments, resentment, a sense of entitlement. You might be carrying all kinds of false beliefs and identifications. You might be carrying all kinds of disappointment and expectations. So the question is, do you need those things? Are they serving you? Are they helping you on your journey? Are they making your life better, easier, more pleasant? Or are they causing you all sorts of trouble and turmoil? Sometimes life feels heavy. Sometimes we feel like we're stuck or sinking. And if you feel that way, it might be because you have too much unnecessary baggage. So what are you willing to let go of, to drop, to cast aside in order to lighten your life? If you find this content valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.